Hey everyone, FinTech here. So Polkadot may be the most exciting and innovative crypto since the launch of Ethereum, and yet its price is approaching a new low for the past year, potentially giving us an opportunity to buy in. But what many don't realize is Polkadot isn't just another crypto. It's one of the most impactful software projects in the entire world. Let me explain. While most cryptocurrencies run on their own blockchains like Bitcoin or Ether on the Ethereum network, Polkadot allows other crypto projects to run on top of their chain. This means unlike blockchains which quickly get outdated, Polkadot is effectively future-proof. So in this video, we'll go over why Polkadot is being massively undervalued relative to its future impact on the crypto space, talking about some of the latest projects on Polkadot that have made people as much as 200% returns in a single day, and how Polkadot will soon be the best crypto to meet the two largest trends for the next generation of cryptos: DeFi and building useful applications on the internet of blockchains. So hit the like button if you want, and let's start with a story to show what Polkadot actually is. Polkadot's origin actually traces itself all the way back to the early days of Ethereum, the groundbreaking crypto project that introduced everything from decentralized apps or dApps to NFTs. One of the people most responsible for building Ethereum from a technical standpoint was a man named Gavin Wood, a PhD who worked as the chief technology officer of the Ethereum Foundation for years. But while things were exciting and new at Ethereum for a while, Gavin started to feel that Ethereum's design was really limiting for new improvements. While at first the Ethereum Foundation planned to work on new features that would one day launch as Ethereum 2 way back in 2016, if you fast forward to today, most of those features still aren't built. So in 2016, Gavin sat down and wrote out a document. That document would later be published as the Polkadot white paper, a 21-page breakdown of his vision to improve the blockchain paradigm. Gavin's view of the perfect blockchain really had three main parts. It had to be sustainable, so no using massive amounts of electricity to make blocks like Bitcoin. 2, it had to be upgradable, so unlike Ethereum, it wouldn't take years to add new features. And 3, it needed to be interoperable with other blockchains. And while it took 4 years to finally achieve this vision, literally just a few months ago when I first started covering this project, we saw the first little buds of the vision start to bloom. Gavin Wood started out by testing a lot of Polkadot's features on a test network called Kusama, making sure things like proof of stake were working before building them into Polkadot's mainnet. Proof of stake simply means the blockchain is verified by people staking or lending the DOT tokens they hold to secure the network rather than verifying transactions through an energy-intensive mining process. They also started testing out parachain auctions on the test network. Parachains is the name Gavin gave to blockchains that would run on top of the Polkadot network. These parachains would generally be built by people outside the core dev team, usually by community members who wanted to build their own crypto but didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel when it came to making it secure. They would let Polkadot handle all of that. Polkadot would meanwhile benefit because as more parachain projects were added, it would add to the chain's functionality. It's almost like in a video game where you have third parties who build mods and additions for the game that you can use to enhance the game experience if you want. But Gavin wasn't just going to let anyone start adding on to the Polkadot mainnet. So he set up an auction system where holders of DOT tokens could use their DOT to vote for which projects they wanted to see added. So right now, if you go to the site parachains.info, you can see which projects have the most community funding and are likely to get added to Polkadot. And you can even vote yourself for which projects you want to see added. And to make sure people participated in these auctions, Polkadot lets the winning projects reward people who supported them by giving them tokens from the new parachains, providing a financial incentive for participating. And while you do have to lock up your DOT for 2 years if you win an auction, you will eventually get that DOT back, and you get to keep the parachain tokens that you were originally rewarded with. This is how funders of one of Polkadot's parachains, Clover Finance, made a 3x return almost overnight. See, Clover won Polkadot's 5th parachain auction, raising $162 million in DOT support. Its over 5,000 contributors were then rewarded with Clover token, which immediately spiked in price before selling off over time. But for the smart investor, there was an opportunity to make an essentially risk-free return, since those investors will also get their original DOT tokens back in 2 years. Plus, they keep any money that they made trading their free Clover. But speaking of smart investors, let me tell you quickly about Webull and how you can earn $27 in the next 5 minutes. If you sign up for Webull using the link in the description, they'll give you 2 free stocks. But if you then deposit any amount of money, they'll give you another 3 free stocks. That's a minimum value of $27 and could be worth as much as $9,600. Plus, when you activate Webull Crypto and trade at least $1, you'll get a $5 crypto reward. So sign up using the affiliate link in the description. Seriously, the deal only lasts for this month. And let's get back to the video. So that's been the story up until recently with Parachain. Smart investors could make quick returns by funding the right projects, but overall the Polkadot ecosystem has not exploded in value. But that may all be about to change with functionality Polkadot's latest parachains have added to the network. So let's now look at Polkadot's first 5 actively running parachain projects one by one and go through their potential to create value for the whole Polkadot network. And we'll go in reversed order, starting with the latest parachains and build up to the earlier ones, since those are the ones the community valued the most. First up, we have Clover Finance, the 5th parachain auction winner. Clover Finance is a smart contract platform, meaning it's designed to let outside developers create new apps on top of it. It is specifically focused on the Ethereum community and the DeFi contracts. So it makes it easy to port DeFi apps on Ethereum over to Polkadot. Now, right now it really is just for porting over the dApps completely, but they eventually want to improve it to eventually allow seamless cross-chain interoperability. So I could interact via Polkadot with someone else using a totally different blockchain, essentially creating the internet of blockchains that dApps run on top of. But you may be asking, what is DeFi and why is it useful? Well, DeFi stands for decentralized finance, and its goal is really taking blockchains back to the original intention of Bitcoin. When Bitcoin first started, people talked about it as a virtual currency, a way to buy and sell goods that wasn't tied to a specific country's government. Over time, as that network grew, it became too slow and expensive for that to really be feasible, but DeFi wants to scale that original vision up exponentially. Rather than just creating a virtual currency, DeFi could replace the entire banking system. Lending, earning interest, investing, saving. All those functionalities could move from private or governmental domains into a decentralized world of code. Theoretically, this would be more efficient since it would cut out middlemen fees, and it would be more secure using the blockchain. Now, in reality, the technology isn't there yet to replace all of banking, and there's also a serious risk around regulation in this space. We've seen countries like China, Senegal, and even the US consider regulating cryptos just as an investment asset. But imagine the pressure on regulators if big banks think they are at risk of losing trillions of dollars to decentralized crypto networks. Now, you might say governments can't regulate cryptos since they are decentralized, but we've clearly seen government regulations take huge chunks out of the crypto community in other countries as those not willing to circumvent the law just leave the system. And there's no reason to think it would be any different in the US or anywhere else. That being said, for now, Clover Finance is well on its way to uniting DeFi across blockchains. Next up, we have our number 4 auction winner, Parallel Finance. Parallel Finance enables token holders and projects to flexibly and borderlessly put their idle capital to earn interest. So there's really 2 things it does. Number 1 is create sort of a money market account where you can lend and borrow DOT tokens to earn interest. Number 2 is to allow DOT staking on non-Polkadot chains by creating a derivative security out of the tokens. So basically they say, okay, I know you have 100 DOT tokens you want to stake over here. I can't actually put the DOT there, but I can create a piece of paper that says you have 100 DOT and give it to the other chain. That chain trusts me, so they accept the piece of paper and they let you earn interest on those DOT even though they don't see the tokens directly. Now, how this works exactly is pretty complicated, but if you're really curious, you can read Parallel's white paper online. After that, we have the winner of auction number 3. So we're getting to some of the biggest projects now that beat out all the other parachains to get added to the network first. Number 3 was Astar, a substrate runtime library. Now, those words probably didn't mean much if you're not at all technical, but let's break it down simply. Substrate is the name for a set of tools that let developers build parachains for Polkadot. It's how you get your custom project working with the Polkadot mainnet. Astar adds on to the existing tools available in Substrate by adding tools to make it easy to launch new blockchains. Now, this might not be that big of a deal for these first few parachains that have millions of dollars in funding and lots of engineers working on them, but as time goes on, we need it to become easier and easier to build on Polkadot to help democratize parachain creation. Ideally, Astar lets you bring infinite scalability into your blockchain by structuring economic incentives properly to let it grow organically and not implode as soon as you stop managing it. Astar also happened to have one of the best payouts for its supporters, around $10 per DOT token that supporters put into its auction, which at Polkadot's current price would give you a more than 50% return just by participating in the auction, and that's without any price appreciation whatsoever. But that leads us to auction number 2 winner, Moonbeam, the best paying parachain project, which because of its volatility made some early investors 10x returns for betting on it early on. Moonbeam also operates in the smart contract space, only instead of focusing on DeFi, it helps build cross-chain compatibility for all kinds of dApps. So you can actually use the Ethereum developer tools, for example, to build a dApp that runs on Polkadot and connects back to Ethereum, or build a Polkadot dApp that interacts with Bitcoin. It's no surprising this was the number 2 auction when this technology will be right at the center of Polkadot's vision of becoming the internet of blockchains. And then for the parachain voted most important by the community and the winner of Polkadot's very first parachain auction, we have Acala. Acala raised a ridiculous $500 million in funding from the community and lists many partners and outside investors on its auction page. Acala, similar to Clover, is all about DeFi, but what it adds is even more fundamental. First off, it adds liquid crowd loan DOT, a trustless staking derivative that allows people to contribute to a parachain auction without losing access to the DOT tokens for 2 years. Instead, they'd lock up the DOT and then users would be given LC DOT in return, which would match up 1-to-1 with the original DOT tokens. And best of all, other projects can use this same technology when they are at auction. Acala also issued a new stablecoin, AUSD, that is backed by assets on multiple blockchains, potentially paving the way for a more universal stablecoin that is pegged to the US dollar. This cross-chain compatibility could be key to knocking coins like Tether off the leaderboards for most valuable stablecoins, especially given Tether's very sketchy past. Third, Acala adds a decentralized exchange that lets you trade assets without needing a market maker in the middle. This is called AMM-DEX, and while it might sound confusing, it's actually pretty simple. Apps like Uniswap let you trade coins by using a super simpler formula to calculate their value. This is important because if you don't want to convert to US dollars in between trades, you need to know how relatively valuable different coins are. Other organizations like Wall Street banks similarly set values for stocks and securities based on much more complicated formulas, and companies like Coinbase can serve a similar purpose in the crypto market. AMM-DEX tries to strike a balance between the limited design of something like Uniswap and avoiding giving power to a centralized exchange like Coinbase. And while it's still pretty early on, this will offer a platform to improve decentralized exchanges in the future, potentially rendering companies like Coinbase completely obsolete one day. And given Coinbase's over $30 billion market cap, that seems like a service that people value pretty highly. Last up, Acala uses tiny amounts of gas fees to make transactions, so it's a lot cheaper to do stuff here than on, say, Ethereum. So put all these together, and it's no wonder Acala was the first parachain added. But these won't be the only 5 parachains on the network. Every week, there is another parachain auction where you can put your DOT tokens to work selecting which projects you'd like to support. And I made a separate video going into more detail on how you would do that. So if you're looking for who's still making money despite the crypto market trading sideways, supporters of new winning parachain projects are some of those people. So let me know which parachain projects you hope to win the upcoming auctions. I'm going to be reading every comment on this video and responding to as many as I possibly can. I also didn't cover all of the recent parachain winners here, so let me know if you'd be interested in hearing about other parachain winners as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.